Hey traders, Nick here. I wanted to answer a question. Somebody sent me a request to look at FEYE. I think they were stuck long in it, and here's the thing. They reported earnings. The bias was upwards, meaning the people's sentiment was upwards, and at the time I looked at the open interest and the suggested downside pressure. In a perfect environment where there are no headlines, I would go with the open interest, but because it was over the earnings report, and the short-term reaction to all earnings is always binary, meaning it's a coin flip to me. And you know, I can prove it over and over again, but I still have doubters there. They do homework, so they beat their, doesn't matter what they did, it's what the people were expecting and how they react to the words that come out of the company's mouth on that day. You can hand us the P&L the day before. I've said it a million times, and I could not tell you with certainty which way they're going to go. What I can say is how the market was lined up for it. And even though the last day action seemed bullish, people chasing upside, in this case, the open interest was on the money. The downside pressure was towards 17, and there was some support there, but not a lot. So it fell apart, and it fell to the 16s. So now what? If I'm long, what do I do? First of all, I don't know the fundamentals of the company, but I do know that there's demand for their services. The whole sector is on fire, and people, you know, we do everything electronically, and we need it. So what do I do now? It becomes the technicals have to kick in, because if I look at the fundamentals, there's nothing that I can say other than the group is the services for the group are necessary. Therefore, there will be Therefore, there will be demand for their whatever they offer. So it all comes down to what this particular company can do. And the price to earnings, it still loses money. So there's no tangible value from that perspective. Price to sales, maybe I can get a price to book 5 times book. And price to sales is not that crazy for if it's really growing. So some homework is necessary there. But then we look at the technicals, because that's probably what's going to come into play here. Where do people... where have they fought it out, and where are they going to fight it out again? Okay, so if I'm long the stock, this is not the time to get out, especially that if I have not gotten out. This is a daily chart, so every candle is one day. I do see that they fought it out over here, which is 15.50. Yeah, I know I don't want to be long for another $1 lower, but at least I know that there's one bottom, and that area has also been support here. And why do I say it has been support here back in August? Again, on an earnings report, it looks like. It's because with a big reaction, they tend to overreact. The market overreacts. So if I consider this an overreaction, then I can somewhat say, okay, there is a rubber band support here from this area. But all this is a lot of consolidation. And so it should be strong. And this was sharp. So I expect this after that. Here it took them time to fight it out, to establish it, but when they were done, the decision was made. Okay, this is a bottom. So next time they came here, boom, boom, and they were out. They did not need to spend as much time here because they remembered what happened there. I know it sounds silly, but that's real life. It works almost every time. So what if this doesn't hold? Then the story becomes very, very grim. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I take it one level at a time. Whoa. Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, so I don't track the stock. It used to be up in the 90s. Terrible price action here. So this is a weekly chart. And I did a weekly so to eliminate a lot of the candles. The noise from the candles. So this is 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. Every candle is 1 week. And we're going back to 2017. I can even zoom in a little more. So now it becomes, so those are the two pokes we just talked about. And that's the area that I also said. So now let's look at it from a weekly perspective and likelihood of support, resistance, and all of that. I'm not going to look at resistance here. Okay, so those are the two pokes we said. Sharp, that was probably the December debacle, Christmas, I should say. And that zone was where they had fought it out there before. And it looks like they had fought it out for a long time before that. And these are weeks, so that's a long time. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's about a year right there. Earnings reports. So, and look at the pattern. shoulder, head, shoulder, right? If that had broken down, technically, the technicals will say they're going to go to here. Actually, they usually say they're going to fall that much, which would take them back to here. So I bet you right here, there were technicians saying short it because it's going to here. Well, I say don't short it unless it loses the last hope. So look at here. We have shoulder, head, shoulder forming. They're going to come to a decision. Are they going to say short it to come down here or not? Why here? Well, if this is the neckline, well, in this case, it's kind of a slanted neckline. They say they want to fall that much. So I say before you fall all the way to the targeted, whatever that may be, look left and see where they stopped before. So this would be one stop. So I'm going to put a line here. And this would be definitely a nice stop. Look at that, right in the middle of the box. I eyeballed it, and it came up almost identical where it needs to be, exactly where it needs to be. So I am not calling for lower levels. In fact, I'm saying that it has happened before right here, and it did not collapse, correct? So let's clean it up so we can remember all of this stuff. All right. So if I'm here long, I'd want to see what happens. How do I determine that? Then I get a little bit more granular. So I go back to the one, and then maybe come down to a 4-hour chart, so I can see better the lines. So I'll put an alert. Tell me when they lose this candle right here, because that was the worst of the worst last week. So I will put an alert here. When you lose 1580, 1575, I want to be alerted. When I lose this candle here, which is 1570, 69, I want to be alerted. And when we lose this candle right here, 1540, I definitely want to be alerted. And this one, 1536. I'm not saying it's going there, but these are important levels. This is an important level too if you want to be really a little bit more granular. This is 16-ish, a little over 16. Psychologically, it's important. It held here. And it's also a double bottom for this period of time right here. So these are levels, and then I decide whether I want to get out. So now it's going to need the help of the markets in general. And so I would have to look at track the S&P, for example, or maybe the NASDAQ, and see how they trade on Monday. We'll probably get a good glimpse of it tonight, Sunday, because China trades tonight. They've been off for a week. So it's important. Maybe we get help from them because they have stimulus going on. Now, this coming week, we have Powell talking and a whole bunch of Fed heads talking. I don't know why they continue talking. I mean, they create enough trouble, headline mess, when they're scheduled to talk for their decision-making process once a month, and now they want to talk every stinking week. It's just amazing. So anyway, we have to live through that. But more importantly, we do have CPI inflation numbers coming out after they talk, and that's the more important number. So if inflation spikes, I don't expect it to, but if it does spike, we were going to have a conversation, because that changes everything. You remember last year we got rid of one fear, the Fed. Well, that will come back in buckets. I don't anticipate it, but that is a pitfall I'd probably be looking for. All right, next thing, I just wanted to answer the question about FEYE. This logic applies to any stock that's falling or rising. Do I get out? Is it time to get out? Is it time to because of it's rising too much? Do I to book profits? Is it time to get out to limit losses? So I look at the fundamentals. In this case, I don't have a lot of value to measure against. So if I say, okay, it's falling into a PE of whatever, so it's probably like I did with Micron. In this case, I can't do that, so I have to go back to the technicals. All right, next, signing out.